Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item on the agenda for under issues is Resolution 10-FY 2022. We're still waiting on some additional information from the contractor, so we would like to present that.
Okay.
Moving on, Resolution 13-FY 2022, relative to the approval of the program management, construction management services for the Guam Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Improvements Services Extension. This resolution is necessary and urgent to provide an extension for the performance period relative to Brown and Caldwell's project management and construction management contract. This contract extension is related to the Northern District wastewater treatment plant upgrade and also the Northern Guam Lens Aquifer monitoring wells expansion projects. The extension's needed due to delays from COVID-19, also some global supply chain shortage issues also related to COVID-19, and also H-2B labor issues that happened during the project. The project itself is still it'll be operational ahead of the proposed DoD connection at Camp Laws, provided that the PM and CM work can continue as proposed by this resolution. The total cost of this contract extension is $1.6 million on a time and materials basis. The current CCU authorized contract amount is $15.5 million. Right now, the current amount on that contract, authorized contract amount is $15 million. Therefore, the resolution seeks to increase the authorized contract by $1.1 million total. The project itself should be completed by August 31st, 2022, and the funding source for this is the Office of Local Development Community Cooperation, which is formerly known as the OEA grant from DoD. And then if necessary, we would also use bond funds if needed.
Okay. Any questions?
Do you think
Santos.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, just real quick, can you get us a breakdown of how we expended all the federal funds first before you talk about spending local funds? Because I was in a meeting with when I believe he's still the director of OEA of Washington was saying that you're only going to get this amount of money and that's it. And I just want to make sure that was met and staff before you come asking us to spend local money.
Yes, sir.
There was a total breakdown of what we expended today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure that with us. I'm curious.
We have about $988,000 left in remaining OEA grants.
160?
Yes, and for the PMCM project, our contract.
No.
The total
The
cost.
total contract.
Yes, it was in that range. So I can get the breakdown of what was allotted for construction versus the PMCM contracts and get that to you. But for this resolution, because we have only $988,000 left in remaining OEA grants, the remaining portion would need to be covered by bond funding.
Okay. So for Tuesday, to clarify, for Tuesday's meeting, give us the total breakdown. This is for all the OEA grants. I think the total was like 173 million or somewhere in that neighborhood. And you can break them down by, each project. There's the upgrade for the collection system, and then there's the water wells, and then there's the upgrade to the Northern Sewer Treatment Plant. Give us the breakdown on the funding and where it's, if you're almost out of everything's already encumbered, whatever, you know how to do that. Work with Tully. And then that way we can see, okay, what we're up against, okay? Yeah. Commissioner Sanchez, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, yeah, because I think perfect question from Commissioner Santos is, do we anticipate needing more money for this project, for these projects that ideally, from our point of view, we'd love to have OEA pay for all of it, but what you think you're gonna spend, then you put out the bids, and you get the actual spend, and then you actually start building, right? You know, things can change. So, related to Commissioner Santos's question is whether we think do we need another 5 million, 10 million, 1 million? Is this it to complete the OEA project, which is a monster project, but we just, at least so we begin to be, we're not saying no, we're just saying,
Yeah,
are we
we
gonna be
just wanna
5 million
know.
short, 10 million short, and what bond funds are we taking, and when we originally borrowed the bond money, we thought we would do it for project, 37 or whatever, and now we're taking it from this bond. Did we sacrifice other projects that were originally funded by the bond in order to complete this? I don't know if overrun's the right word, but the fact that we may be approaching the end of the OEA maximum budget. Now we're being asked to take some of our own money to do this, and if we are, from what bucket of our own money did we take it from, and what did we give up in order to fund this instead of whatever that project, whatever was the original intent of this $1 million, right? If you could just help us understand all of that on
Certainly,
Tuesday.
I'll provide that projection for you
Perfect.
by the meeting, and right now what we're looking at is Bond Fund MPWW WWTP 08, which is funding for the Northern District expansion specifically. So we had already allotted a certain funding amount for the project.
From our own money in
From our
addition
own
to the
money.
OEA. So that's where this will be a nice snapshot for the commission, to kind of paint the whole picture. Here's the whole project, here's OEA, here's us, and then just out of curiosity, when we took some of our own money away from bond, whatever, what was it originally intended to? Because, we also have projects that don't, they run under budget, so you have leftover bond funds, so we use it. I mean, that part's okay too, but just so we understand the spending. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
By the way, just as a side question, is the Northern Wastewater Treatment Plant, all that operational now, or?
Most of the wet system is operational, so it's in process. What we have now are our design consultants on site to help get the biological systems up and running,
Okay.
get the
Very good.
microbial populations healthy, and we're trying to produce solids so that we can get our solid system, our belt presses and so forth, in operation.
Okay, very
Fun.
good.
Fun, very cool.
Okay, Commissioner Mchako.
Thank you. The resolution says that the use of bond funds for funding, if necessary, I think you alluded to the fact that it's not enough. You've already identified that the OE funds are not enough. You have to access that. So how much of that delta?
$696,178.97.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and you can give us the full picture on Tuesday. You can also email it to us ahead of time. Because, that way, sometimes if we have a question, we'll be better prepared on Tuesday.
Okay, I
Okay.
will do that.
Thank you.
But make sure we put it on the record too.
Yeah, oh, no, that's what I mean. Give it to us on Tuesday night, but it always helps to get the information so we can start digesting it, of course. That's why we have the working sessions before the meeting. Anyway, Chris, next one up to bat.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next resolution is number 14-FY 2022, and this is relative to approval of change order number 7 for the Northern and Southern Guam Reservoir Design Services. This contract supports the court order, storage tank, reservoir repair, replacement, and relocation. And specifically, this is related to the Ugam Reservoir project, which is still in the design phase. The design for the foundation was a cast in drilled hole method. And at about the 90% design phase, a concurrent construction project in Santa Rita, the Santa Rita Reservoir, also was using the same method of the cased and drilled hole, but they had to take a different route because there's a cased drill rig shortage on the island. And so to avoid delays, a precast pile foundation method was designed, or is being designed, and will be used in Santa Rita. So to get ahead of any possible delays on the Ugam project, we're requesting an additional amount to this change order number 7 so that the engineer can do a precast pile foundation design for the Ugum Reservoir project. And the amount that's required is $128,992. Should take about 4 weeks after a change order is issued. And the funding source is the PW 09-11 Water System Reservoir 2005 improvement from bond funding.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Next.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 15-FY 2022. And this is for a multi-year procurement of automotive gas and diesel fuel for the GWA transportation fleet. IFB, excuse me, IFB number 2022-01 was put out earlier in the year. There was the evaluation committee reviewed 2 responsive bids, and they determined that the lowest cost bid was provided by IP&E Holdings with a rate of an estimated per gallon cost for regular gas of $2.92 and for diesel $2.80 per gallon. The estimated annual cost for the entire contract for over a 3-year period, which is the base of the contract, is about a little over $1 million. There's 2 additional 1-year options, and if executed would be an estimated $676 million. So the total estimated contract cost over the 5 years is about $1.8 million. And that's derived from, on the diesel cost fuel side, is based on an estimated 32,000 gallons per year usage. And on the gas, it's about 85,000 gallons per year. So we're requesting approval of this contract, and due to the size, we would also need to seek approval from the PUC. It'll be funded from the GWA revenues as part of operations and maintenance expenses. And the method or the cost is based on a formula that is an average cost of the prior month's fuel prices for those specific fuels, plus a premium fee. The fixed amount premium fee for the unleaded is 49 cents per gallon, and for the diesel, it's 50 cents per gallon.
Any question, Commissioner Sanchez?
When did we put this bid out? Because these prices per gallon are spectacular. But
Yeah.
What world are they living in?
That's not the actual,
Well, I noticed it says, I know it,
this is based on a MOPS, right? There's
well, and then it
a,
said, I saw, just to be clear, for disclosure, that it does fluctuate with the market, if I'm correct. If
That's
I'm
correct.
reading this is the bid price at the time of the bid, I imagine?
That's correct. The bid was put out in November. And so these prices were based on the October MOPS prices.
Last century or last year?
Last year.
yeah.
Okay, but then it's a market-based price.
That's correct.
In order for you to calculate the winning bidder, people said, this is my price as of last October, asterisk, but it's market-based, right?
Correct.
Is it MOPS? Is that what they're
Yeah,
using?
MOPS.
Okay, all right. Okay, cool, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Commissioner Santos?
Just got a question, guys.
Sure.
Obviously, when we look at this, do we talk to GPA about in this particular bid, given that we are buying fuel for the same purpose, right?
Yes.
Do we-
So the procurement team did work with them. We were trying to align with them on a joint bid, but we're like 1 year off from it. And so I believe the decision was just to go out on another 5-year, but we don't have to execute the final 2 years, so we can join GPA during the contract.
Again, I just bring that up, I mean, the volume makes sense, right?
It's valid.
Kind of audit. And if we can get any kind of savings, especially in diesel, for example, right, that benefits the ratepayer. And then again, I'm going to make a pitch again, Mr. Chairman. We have to begin looking at electric vehicles. If our gas bill is, what's our gas bill here? Almost $745,000. We have to start making a move to get some of our vehicles into the electric mode. It's the trend, it's the going trend, it's not, I think we need to task, our leadership here to identify within the fleet what we can convert on gasoline over
Create a
to,
plan, create a plan.
Yeah, and we have enough trucks in our inventory to warrant that we can do the vehicles. It just makes sense, and then I think generally the public is looking at us to be the leader in this. It's almost a given that both utilities, not just GPA, sit down and have in the inventory electric vehicles going around promoting. Again, I don't know, does that count toward our renewable mode? We're using EV?
I think I think we need to look at the cost benefit, right? Because we're burning diesel fuel to power what would charge these vehicles anyway, right? So unless we have some sort of like analysis on like what does it cost per gallon to charge a vehicle as opposed to just purchasing fuel, I'd be curious to know that. But I think you're on the right track there, Commissioner.
At least put a plan together, let's look at it. Yeah.
Unless it's
hope that with your expertise, more so even in the larger, I mean, we know they're doing it already, right?
yeah, the
So
class.
Does it make sense?
The Class 8 trucks aren't there yet, but the light duty trucks like the bucket trucks and some of the other trucks that they're already, in fact, when I was on my trip in Anchorage just last week, I saw a fully electric box truck going down the street in Anchorage, so I was surprised. But those light duty trucks are starting to be integrated into the market, but the big trucks, the Class 8 trucks, not yet.
But put a plan together, right? I mean, that's a good idea.
I think the only way to do it is you're going to do it. It's not, we've been talking about it for a little bit too long now. I think it would task both agencies is to, look at your fleet. I guess tell me when we get to the insurance, I'll give you a copy of our fleet inventory. Then you can actually see the count of the light trucks that we have and say, X number of these should retire.
And then what do you replace them with?
Right.
Right.
And then the cost benefit analysis
Yeah.
needs to be done to see. Because obviously, I think what I'm hearing is that the public is, going to move towards this, but they're looking at to see who's going to jump in to do the charging stations. It's almost like they're expecting GPA or the utility to be the ones to provide it. I don't think we're going to get GPO or the micro mall to install the EV charges.
So you get
So
some,
when you go shopping,
not yet, but, and most people will charge at home initially, right?
Those from what we've researched, those are critical areas when you're doing like cross country or over your anticipated range for your EV. But on Guam,
You're always-
even our
it's not gonna, we know that.
yeah even our tractors don't do over 150 miles a day, so they're back at the shop charging until
Overnight.
the next day.
Yeah.
But still good for GPA to be the gas station, it's just, but.
Well, no, I think what's interesting is that analysis that says how much
What does it cost per
cost
gallon,
per gallon.
to
yeah.
charge with
And I
our
think-
current
so let's
diesel
re- let's
our
remember,
diesel
let's
fuel?
remember that on Thursday, because that's really the GPA thing.
Then everybody has a fleet, so.
No, everybody is a
that's
fleet, but what I mean is the guys who run the power side can kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
What does that mean to a gallon of gas? So
Yeah.
let's
plan
remember
together.
that for Thursday.
Yep.
But I mean,
Okay.
you think about it, Mr. Chairman, we, when I say we as the government, I mean, GPG.
No. You're right.
Every agency has a car.
Yep.
I'm sorry, gasoline car. In some cases.
No, you're right.
If you could tie it in with like some sort of utility scale, not maybe utility scale, but large rooftop solar, where you're not using the diesel power generators to charge, and you have the batteries there that to charge up, that would definitely
Well,
work.
Actually, that's coming because our solar farms, that's the whole idea. They'll be
Shifting the peak.
peak, and they'll be
And
able
you
to
don't turn on
charge
those
those
gens.
things, and we won't be charging from, I think the visions down the road is, Ukadu's the last plant we're building, and we're shutting down almost everything else.
Yeah.
I don't know, this right for something as interior? The interior grant, the study?
It is, but I like your idea because, we're a $500 million company. We got a fleet. We buy fuel on a regular basis for not only vehicles, but for generators. So sort of putting that kind of plan together. And then, supply side is, and Mike knows it the best. The supply side is the other issue. We may want all our bucket trucks to be electric, but when you do the cost benefit analysis, is it there yet, right?
Yeah.
But if any group can do a study and start to figure it out, and then like you said, when truck 38 is time to retire, a year from now, 3 years from now, what is our plan? Do we stay conventional? Do we switch? And if any group can do it, I think when you put these two companies together, your idea is.
Sure.
Yeah, your idea
Remember
is.
to use somebody else's money. Versus, and just,
Yeah.
interior is,
Interior got us that windmill.
yeah.
And, I'm just saying, I'm with you, that we don't need to wait for them. We're a going concern.
Yeah.
We-
And
we have
GPA has the
resources.
brain power on that
Yeah,
side to
okay.
figure that out.
Exactly.
Bring it up with JJ.
Yeah, let's remember it for Thursday.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Commissioner Chapa.
Chris, you had mentioned that there's so they have a base price based on the mops, right, per gallon, and then they have a service fee?
Correct.
So
It's
when you
called a premium fee.
Premium fee? So the premium fee, how did the premium fees on the individual bidders fare? So was it, I'm assuming that the award was made based on the lowest responsive bidder on the premium fee?
Correct.
Okay, and that fee was what again?
It was 49 cents for the automotive gas and 50 for the diesel.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So we have our own group that does the maintenance of the vehicles. And so they I think we have about 6 mechanics that maintain our entire fleet, which is almost, I think it's almost 150 to 200 vehicles and
We'll
heavy
find out
equipment.
next Tuesday. Something will tell us. By the way, congratulations, Saling, on getting your audit out. Very good. You had some nice words from the OPA. Yeah,
And
very good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, sure.
the next item on the agenda is Resolution 16-FY 2022, which is relative to approving the contract for property insurance. And so for this contract, there was an IFB 2022-09 that was put out. There was an extension granted for proposal submission to April 21st, which is this week. The proposals will be received and evaluated, and an award will hopefully be made this week, and then the resolution will be updated and presented at the meeting on the 26th for
Okay.
approval.
Okay. Well, is the resolution currently printed in the board books?
No.
It is
Okay.
not in the board books. We do have a hard copy if you'd like to look at it.
No, what I suggest is, as you go forward, the 21st is soon. Before the meeting, upload that resolution so that we can start looking at it, okay?
Okay.
The more time we have to view this stuff, the better off we are when we get to Tuesday. Commissioner Santos.
It's 3 plus 1 plus 1? What's your, what are you looking at then?
It's 3 years, it's a 5-year term. I think they have the ability to provide a 3-year proposal or a 5-year.
Say that again?
3-year or 5-year.
Okay, and what are we asking for? What do you want?
I'd like the 5-year if it's, if it makes sense.
Okay. Well,
Okay. Good. Anything else you want to tell us? Is there anything we need to know?
Well, that exhausts the list for the resolutions, so nothing further on that. If you'd like, we can go through the management report.
Sure.
Okay?
Do you have a brief management report?
Yes. So, go ahead, Aaron. All right. So the first slide is GWA workforce availability. Right now, we're at about 97.2%. Reporting is healthy, with the balance, the majority of which are sick but not related to COVID. Our vaccine status is currently at 95% vaccinated for the entire workforce. Any questions on that?
Quick question, is it still required that you have to be vaccinated?
It is not. The
Right, we waived that.
GWA rescinded the mandatory vaccination policy.
What is the level that is vaccinated in our company?
Right now, it's 95%.
Yep.
Okay. Next slide. So the next slide is our March update for production. For the month of March, we produced 38.6 million gallons of water per day, about 1.1 million kgals total. which tracks a little bit more than the previous month. The Tuma Maui well production for March, same thing. It's tracking. Sorry, Ann, next slide. It's been holding steady at about 1 million gallons per day. On the distribution side, the water booster pump station operability is about 91.1% right now. That is 51 pumps operating out of a total of 56, so that's about the same as the previous month. On the distribution tank side for northern and southern tank capacity, right between 40 and 50% on those tanks. We had a couple dips in the month, one early in March in the northern, and then at the tail end of March. Those were related to some high-producing wells in the north, or supplying the north in Jigo and Dededo that came down for various reasons. But I believe we're back to capacity on those. The wastewater collections monthly summary, we've got currently at 85.6% operability on those pumps. It's down from the previous month. We've had some challenges getting back some of the pumps from local vendors, so they're out for repair, and we're waiting on them to be returned, which is why the numbers are a little bit lower this month, or last month. Next item is wastewater collection CCTV. So for the year, our target is 15 miles from January to March. As of March, we are at 15.56, so we're tracking above target. And for wastewater treatment plants, average daily flows for the month of March were 9.54, producing about 412,000 pounds of sludge, which cost about $37,000 for the disposal. So the flows were slightly lower than the previous month.
Are the agate, pneumatic, and Arahan sludge combined, sent to Northern or Yanya? Is that right? There's no record of it?
Or they don't create sludge, or?
Yeah, I
Do
don't.
they create sludge, or? I'm just, you would think agate would, right?
So maybe it's in that, it might be in that total.
Yeah, well, sometimes
Just
too,
making
they,
sure that, I mean, my assumption is agate would have sludge, and then pneumatic and Arahan create sludge, even though they're different technologies.
There are different technologies, though.
But they do create some sludge.
yeah, I think it's just a timing issue of when they dispose of it. So I don't think that it's like every month, it's not a guarantee that they'll dispose from each facility.
Because they don't have enough. But agate, you would think, would have regular
Yes.
sludge, right? Okay, we just want to make sure.
Okay,
Let's see, I was surprised when it was blank.
we'll double check on that.
Okay.
All right. On to asset management. So the preventive maintenance to corrective maintenance ratio is 70/30, which is tracking the way it normally does. For the work order completion, corrective maintenance is at 95%, preventive maintenance at 87%. Next slide, for the corrective maintenance ratio for leak repairs versus equipment repairs, we've got 54% on the leak repair and 46% for the equipment. And as far as completion for leak repair work orders, it's not at 97%, and equipment is at 95%. For the One Guam update, the Tumon Maui well, the next inspection is in tomorrow, so we're prepared for that. The interagency billing, there was a meeting last week to discuss a new contract between DoD and GWA. The issues for discussion include specifications for the monthly billings, how the flows are calculated and the costs, and any other new considerations. There's also yet to be determined if Tuma Maui well license will be part of it with the MOU. And then no new points of connection for Camp Blas at this time either, but there is a group getting together to take a closer look at that. On the observation wells, Northern Guam Lens Aquifer, new wells, drilling status, Barragata wells finished, NCS 3A complete, NCS F2 is nearing completion, and the Marlboro is, construction is starting this month. Other items, the Seti Bay easement amendment to MOU is with the AG's office, and then DOD and GWA will be developing a white paper on GAC disposal with thermal and regeneration off-island and the cost of bringing regeneration on island. Next item is, no, go ahead, sir.
The magic word there is incineration.
Correct. So I think they're trying to determine whether or not the thermal reactivation unit would be considered incineration, I guess.
Is there one that you know of that's,
Not,
I mean, we've actually seen incineration, so we can speak to why it works, but I'm
right,
curious as to what this looks like.
yeah,
So if you can set us in the direction we actually see one, so
sure,
we know that there's proof in the.
all right. We'll make a note of that.
Can certainly help the land trail if we can.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right. Moving on to the court order summary, at 97.8%, and we are on target for June 30, 2023. And we had 6 SSO overflow or bypass events reported to EPA during the month of March.
Chris, quick
sir.
question. So we're working on a new consent decree with US EPA as well, correct?
Correct.
So is that simultaneously being implemented while we're finishing the first court order, or how do those merge? Is it linear where they say finish the 2003-2012 amended one, then we will invoke that next one? Or is it a simultaneous equation where you do both at the same time?
You know what, I would suggest that maybe we schedule a time to update us on that with when the general manager gets back, because he's more familiar than.
But we haven't have we executed the second consent decree?
No, sir.
No.
So that's
But
still being
being
developed?
negotiated,
Still
yeah.
in
Still being developed between US
negotiating
EPA and
phase.
us,
Yes,
the next
so-
list?
Yes.
Right, so this
So-
is, we're only just working at this point to complete the first list.
Right.
That's right.
And
So-
while we negotiate the next list.
Yeah.
And then, so it sounds it's a little more linear, where at least whatever's left of the first CO is, we're down to the
We're down
last
to the
pieces.
nubs, yeah.
Their new list is getting ready, we're gonna get ready. I guess Tom Connor's coming out soon?
Yeah, he's coming out for a visit.
Are we
I think
gonna
in
meet
May.
with him?
Yeah, we should be able to have him.
If we can, I
Yeah,
mean, he's a
yeah.
good, he's a good up, and then Miguel will be back by then, so
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be good.
So
Good
I
update.
suggest we wait until,
perfect.
we'll try and schedule something.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
All right, so we're, the land acquisition summary, there was no changes to any of the items on the list from the prior month. So everything is status quo there. The comparison of leaks reported versus leaks repaired is down in both categories from the previous 2 months. So we had 242 reports and 212 leaks repaired in March. Daily leaks repaired graph showing the daily activity of reports and repairs. Next item is the accounts receivable for active residential customers through March 2022. So as far as the amounts owed for greater than 60 days and for the amount of customers, both are down below pre-pandemic levels. So that's tracking well.
Great job.
On the commercial side, similar trend. We've got lower amounts owed to us than pre-pandemic, but the number of business accounts that are delinquent is about the same as pre-pandemic.
And Chris, the sharp dip, was that a write-off? Did we? Where's the sharp
For
dip?
the residential in May?
Yeah.
No, that's when we started disconnections again.
Just okay.
That's why.
Funny how that works.
Okay. And the next item, I'll turn over to the CFO for the financial overview. Sure.
Thank you, Chris. If we go to the first slide, as mentioned by the chair, our FY21 audit was released. This is the 6th year in a row that GWA has been designated as a low-risk auditee. That means that we received unmodified or clean audits, and there were no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. The audit was completed on April 5th, the last day of field work. We probably could have gotten it done a week or so earlier, but the OPA wanted to have a meeting before the audit was released. We're already starting plans for the FY22 audit. The OPA has asked that we target the end of February as the date to complete it. We've let them know that the audit finalization is predicated on getting the OPEB and the retirement fund audits. Those, we generally make significant adjustments based on those audits. The OPEB audit is from DOA, and it's related to other post-employment benefits that we provide to our retirees, like our health care benefits. So we'll be working to get a Gantt chart to the OPA by the end of this week. On top of the financial statement audit, we also had to do a single audit, which is required if entities receive or spend more than $750,000 on federal grants. And that's to provide assurance to our grantors that we've got processes in place to protect the federal monies. Although we didn't get any audit findings, there were a few management letter comments. On the financial side, it was more about timing issues related to moving assets out of the construction account and into the fixed assets accounts, and also writing off assets that are retired or impaired. And so we're all already starting to work to ensure that we've got procedures in place to make sure that we mitigate those issues. For instance, working more closely with engineering so that we have timely information about assets that are completed or assets that get retired. There were also a few management letter comments related to IT. We've already started to address that, and we also have a grant that we've applied for to that's going to be used to upgrade our cyber security practices so that it's we're going to adopt best in practice procedures. We go to the next slide. The end of the year information is pretty much the same as the unaudited, except as I said, for the OPEB and the unfunded liability transactions. Our revenues decreased by 3.6 million because mainly due to our water demand that fell by 472,000 kgals. That fall in demand was mitigated by a 5% increase, if you recall, that was done in October 2020. Water demand decreased across all customer classes except for the federal government, and the largest drop was in the hotel customer class, which was more than half of the total drop in demand. On the expenditure side, our operating expenditures were $6 million over 2020, but that was primarily in non-cash expenditures, the OPEB, increase in OPEB expenses and depreciation. What was interesting is our retiree costs doubled between FY19 and 20, and then again doubled between FY20 and 21. So
In what area?
What, yeah.
in the OPEB, so it would be related to those, like healthcare benefits that we provide to our retirees.
So that includes the benefit side, not just the retiree side, right? So you're like health
It's
insurance.
just retirees.
Health insurance,
This is
it's
related to
our
retirees.
aggregate
insurance, but we've had to recognize the liability differently now, right?
Right.
The future liability
Right.
For retirement.
So what happens is DOA does an audit and then comes up with projected costs so that we can recognize the liability, and then the auditors take those costs and spread it across the different government entities.
And they're put on the books on the balance sheet, right? But
Right,
it's
so it affects both expenditures and liabilities.
because we take a non-cash expense, right? Which is
Right.
why our net earnings, because we ran into it on the GPA bond where
Right.
GPA is a little bit older, got more employees, and the OPEB adjustment was big, and it made us, surprisingly, the
net
former
position.
public auditor on the PUC, brought it up, but didn't seem to recognize why OPEB created the adjustment. OPEB, it's global. I mean, it's it's the, and, that's.
Yeah, the change in accounting method really did.
Yeah, it's
impact
just
a
in the
lot of
chain, right.
entities.
And and it's just recognizing that we have future liability to our current employees that are scheduled to retire at some point in their career. And this is an estimate of it, because it's all actuarial anyway, right?
Right. And then our net assets, we did increase our net position by almost 47 million. Net position is like retained earnings.
Nice.
Our assets at the end of the year were 1.23 billion, which included about 80 million in new capital assets.
So our net went up, even though our revenues went down and our expenditures increased. So what
A lot
is
of
that
it
federal
was
money?
federal grants.
Just aggregate federal money that
Yeah.
flowed in, we treat that as sort of
Right.
non-operating revenue, right? And that creates the gain. Okay.
Telling how, what do we value the wastewater treatment plant? You know, what is it estimated? And when do you trigger it?
I think when it becomes operational. is when you-
Right, so part of it's already on the books because it, this is an expansion. And so the additional funds will get
Recognized.
pushed over once it's fully commissioned. So we're starting that process now.
And who gives us that blessing? US EPA?
No, it would be something that
We
we
do,
would
we do.
decide. We would work with
Miguel
our
says
engineering.
we're operational,
Yeah.
calling, and she books it.
So we'll issue some certifications to get to that point, and then final completion after we go through all the punch list items and all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and if they're ready to turn it over, we'll need to give you the.
So with regard to timing, we just need to do a better job of, the accounting side, talking to the engineers and making sure that.
And if we wanted to sell it to the proposed owner of the property, how much would that be? I'm serious. There's got to be a value for this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, there is a
That's the
value.
argument I would say, well, okay, it's $1 billion to us. Are you
He doesn't
ready?
want to buy it.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the situation we're in.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, colleagues, what it really worth to the people of Guam. If push comes to shove, and you're gonna force us into a situation, it's either that or you go to the federal government and say, we're getting pushed, you better just declare this your property, and this will settle the entire issue.
Or we win our lawsuit.
Oh, we win our lawsuit.
I mean,
Yeah.
lots
So-
of
Yeah,
lots of ifs.
So, as part of the insurance bid, we did calculate the replacement value for the northern plant, excluding the land. So I can get you that number.
Yeah, well, you gotta include the land, because that's what's being pushed.
I think that's the only thing he has an interest in. The bill. He did not spend any money on the building. But the challenge is, as you know, you can't separate land from building, right? Right. That's,
Unfortunately, in this situation, it's a situation where, it's not the nicest piece of building to have, but, hey, it's.
Oh,
safe.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Tully, anything else? Or is that it?
Just we can go over the rest if you'd like or not.
We can
I
review.
just
We
wanted
can,
to.
we can review it, and if
Okay.
we have any questions, we'll bring it up on
I
You do a
TV.
good
did
job of
want to
summarizing.
mention that we did transfer another 400,000 in rate stabilization funds, bringing the total to 1.2 million that we transferred out to shore up our debt service coverage. And we did receive notice from the ALJ of the PUC, and we're hoping that the rate hearing will be scheduled in early May.
Early next week?
Yeah,
Early May or not this coming end of the month?
In May.
you may. Commissioner Sanchez.
And this is the PUC conducting a hearing between GWA and Georgetown?
Well,
What
so
exactly is the hearing on?
Yeah,
There's
so-
no stipulation, right?
So
Right now,
what
there's
would
no.
happen is the ALJ would issue a proposed report, and then
The parties.
present it to the PUC, and then the PUC would give an opportunity, I would assume, to both us and Georgetown to comment on the report that the ALJ
So as
has
far,
presented.
okay, so as far as you can tell in the process, it's with the ALJ now. Georgetown has made its comments, GWA's made comments, gone back and forth, back and forth. We've now submitted everything everyone's going to argue, right? Now the ALJ will come out with his proposed recommendation and order. And that hearing, that's the one you think might occur in early May, sometime in May,
Right.
right? And then we'll see
And then
what.
it'll give the chance for the commissioners to ask questions about the ALJ report or anything else that was
PUC
submitted as-
commissioners.
The PUC
Right,
commissioners.
right. And then you're also, I agree with you, the hope is when he prepares his, when the ALJ prepares his initial report, that the two parties, GWA and Georgetown, get to at least,
Right.
here's our feedback on what we think about the ALJ's report. And then all of that is brought before the full commission, the PUC, and then they decide what they're going to decide. Okay. So it's in May, so May's going to be an important month for us.
Yep.
See what happens.
Thank you.
Let's hope for the best. Okay. Anything else?
Nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners?
Not for me.
We'll see you on Tuesday night. Okay, thank you very much. Move to adjourn? Move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Second? We're adjourned.